Good afternoon, everyone. This is Pradeep, Ambassador of Change from GETI, the Global Education and Training Institute. And you are on our format of disruptive education, for which we thank our mentor, Dr. Sunita Gandhi. Because of this, we've been able to interact with educationists in India and all over the world. We've had more than 600 such encounters, and we are very happy to have with us today Mr. Omar Faruq Ali. He is the director of the Bhawan School in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. He is a keen educationist and erudite scholar. He is a witty orator and traveler, avid traveler, and an ardent sports person with a passion for golf and the outdoors. He did his schooling from the prestigious Delhi College Indore and was the head boy of the school. So I'm sure they found him very special, and I'm sure we'll find him very special today. He represented his school at the national and international levels in athletics, cricket, and squash. He did his business management from HR College, Mumbai, and briefly worked at Telco. He has been director of the Bal Bharati School in Bhopal since 1995 for more than 25 years now. He founded the West Wind Kindergarten in 1998, which is the pre-primary wing of Bal Bharati. Under his innovative vision and leadership, Bal Bhawan has today been recognized as a premier school in Madhya Pradesh. He has won several awards, and the Modern Leader Preserving Indian Traditions Award at the national level is the one that I will mention. He hopes to keep serving in this capacity, ensuring that Bal Bhawan grows from strength to strength. He is progressive, and he wants Bal Bhavan to be a dynamic center of learning with a place for all. He will be speaking on perceptions about relationships around schooling. So thank you, sir, for being with us, and over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for this long introduction. I would start off with my own journey. You know, I was working in the Tatas. This was in 1994 in Bombay, when I lost both my parents, and I was I moved back to Bhopal to run this school called Bal Bhavan. Out here, I knew a few senior teachers, etc. And it was the relationship with those teachers which I actually, started running the school, started, becoming a part of education. It was absolutely a trial and error situation, because I was somebody who was getting ready to go for an MBA to America, and I had to come and run this school. So it was the relationship of those teachers which actually made me build this school. In the 25 years that we've worked in Bhopal, we've invested a lot into teacher training, into togetherness with the children, going out, doing various other aspects, just to build relationships. As an administrator, we have to, as an administrator, which I work in school every single day. So as an administrator, I've got to recognize the relationship between student and student, student and teacher, teacher and student, I put it this way, teacher and parents, and finally administration with all of them. So to begin this session, I would start off with the teacher and student relationship. For centuries, India has spoken very highly of the teacher, Guru Shishya Parampara. The various religious books have spoken about various incidents about respect towards the teacher, and the teacher making this boy into a world-class archer or athlete or student, or somebody who's actually gone on to do extremely well. But it's actually the teacher who's built that relationship, securing the child emotionally in every possible way, making the child secure, happy, sure of what he's doing, confident of every step he takes. So it's the teacher. So for today in schools, we've got to actually look at, number one, our staff being extremely well trained to cope with and look after the situation, promote academic success. To do that, the teacher actually has to be very well equipped himself or herself. Try to ensure that she develops self-worth in the class, tries to make sure that the child respect her, the children respect her. They make sure that the child performs according to the teacher's ability, and ensures that there's a professional growth, an environment of professionalism which grows with the class, gradually and slowly, and ensures that the class is doing a very positive and a good kind of sort of activity in class, outside class, in the playground, everywhere. There has to be this positive energy which actually drives a child to look up to the teacher. We can sort of look at various methods to improve this relationship. We provide a structure where there are certain rules, there are ways of going about this whole thing. The management and the teacher has to sit down and ensure that children follow a particular structure, teach with a lot of enthusiasm and passion. Never sort of run down a student. Never keep him sound, secure in a class. Thereafter, display all the positive actions in class. Ensure that the child doesn't ever fall prey to a negative kind of role by a teacher, or sort of drop in confidence in any possible way. Then secondly, the class has to be area of fun. It should be enjoyable. It should be some area where learning happens through various other. I would go back into my boarding school. There was this particular history teacher called Mr. Dhabai. Mr. Dhabai used to come to class. He was one of those teachers of old school, from the old school of thought. He used to come and tell us stories about various historical events and various events which happened in the past. And today, thanks to Mr. Dhabai, I'm a student of history. I keep on in my free time. I read a lot of history, a lot of Indian history, a lot of European history, and it's all thanks to Dhabai Saab, which today I've got this passion for history. Then you've got to treat the student, whether he's a good student or he's not performing very well academically or in sports, etc. But with admiration, with pushing him to do better in whatever capacity the child can do. So the teacher, has various methods to build this relationship and ensure that most of all that the child is emotionally and is secure in that class, happy, in an environment of being positive, in an environment of creativity. So we can move on, talking about various various religious books have spoken about this relationship. They've spoken about respect for the teacher and the teacher doing such great deeds that the student actually was a reflection of the teacher. Pre-COVID, I personally feel there was a lot of negativity in this relationship. There were students running down teachers, and teachers actually having no regard for students. Everybody was a shark who was out. I shouldn't be using that word, but a shark trying to make money off students and things like that. But COVID, in this pandemic, a lot of people came to realize what the relationship between a teacher and a student is. Teachers really came up on the top. They used different methods. They tried their best. Some reached out, went to students' houses. Some had group discussions, etc. then this online activity which happened, and teachers really educated themselves against all odds, sitting at home, with crying children, with a husband constantly asking her to do something or the other. But they really came out on top, and hats off to them. I mean, it's really amazing. So I personally feel the first relationship which we just discussed was the teacher and student relationship, and there's no dearth of information and history in India which doesn't talk about this relationship. Then we move on to the second aspect of this discussion: building parent and teacher relationship. So a child eventually is a reflection of his parents. If the parents if there's a nice, secure, lovely home, it will reflect on the child. If there's some kind of music at home, it will reflect on the child. So this, you actually have to be honest about the situation, what a child is coming from. The teacher or the housemaster, like I went to boarding school, so the housemaster was well aware of what kind of a background the child is coming from. My housemaster went to a level where he knew every little bit of where I'll do well, where I won't, where I should be pushed, where I should be held back. So that's basically the information at that point of time my parents shared with my housemaster and my teachers in boarding school. So I would actually if the parents and teachers have to be on very good terms, they have to communicate effectively. They've got to look at where the child can actually do very well, where the child has drawbacks, where because of certain reasons the child could not do very well. They've got to foster a sense of trust between between them. They've got to communicate very often, make parents feel very valuable from the teacher's point of view, their inputs, their regular PTMs. Now during COVID, actually, at least our school, we sat down with parents and we spoke to them about 4 to 5 times. Starting from May, we had these parent management. I, in fact, sat over 4 days and spoke to each and every class of mine, having these webinars on Zoom with each and every parent, building their confidence, talking about how education should continue, how a lot of people had actually given up in this town. So we built up this relationship. Management, teacher, the class teacher sat there, the junior school teacher sat there, and said, "No, we are there for you, and we'll see this time through." Everybody, of course, there were queries about fee, there were queries about various other aspects, but I think so. We've come a long way, and parents have, by and large, responded in a very good way. But it was the relationship. We ensured that they were involved throughout this time. We we did not make assumptions that so and so is doing this. So and so should not do this. So we kind of got everybody together, got everybody on the same page. We ensured that the parents are secure, and today they are communicating. A lot of them, it's a great time actually for parents. If a child is weak in a particular subject, teachers are in school or at home, they can actually have one-on-one lessons, because we are down to very few periods, and we have this teachers have this time to actually effectively teach the student, improve them with the parents' help. So it was actually, we got the parents played a very big role during this time. We had classes in our junior section, teachers teaching the parents how to teach the children. Unfortunately, a lot of parents today leave matters to the school. They do not pass it on to, they don't take the initiative to teach their own children like probably our parents did when we were children. So the teachers actually got the, first there were a lot of people who didn't know English very well. So the teachers taught them how to go about their work, and I think so it's done wonders for the children. So this built a kind of a relationship even more with the parents. And in a time where people were having a very rough time, I think so teachers have taken that step, and the parent-teacher relationship and bond has even grown to a different level altogether. Then we've got to constantly repair harm when things get worse. Sometimes there are naughty children, the children who don't respond very well academically. The children, you've got to send them to counselors. You've got to so we've got to actually sit as a team. We've got to focus on solutions. We've got to look at separate needs from different kind of children. We've got to look at how we can do the damage control, how we can extract maximum from a child who's not a very good learner. We've got to, so there are various ways of if there's an effective communication to ensure that the child is going to do better. We've got to constantly work on doing better for the children, building this relationship with parents. The parent and teacher has to even communicate better in these trying times and ensure that the child is at its best. Thirdly, I'll come down to student interaction. Now, the students today are in a completely new situations, completely alien situation for themselves. This learning in remoteness, studying alone, without any friends, without being out with other friends for tuitions, for various other activities, is a new way of learning for a child. So when they learned this way, the only friend was the computer or the mobile phone where these online classes were on. And it is not actually, man is a social animal, and you need students together. You need them in groups, you need them competing with each other, you need them in the classroom, you need them at various we had these old stories about going to so and so's house to study during our college exams, or sitting up in a one of the prep rooms as young students in boarding school, or even even in your formative years as a nursery school student, you go for a birthday party followed by ABCD or winning games. And so this togetherness, unfortunately, during this pandemic has unfortunately, along with the loss of learning in what students have suffered, this togetherness, this more dependence on mobile phones and WhatsApp chats and unnatural forms of communicating have grown. So I just wish that the student to student activity only improves, the relationship gets better. With vaccines on the shelves very soon, I've been told in May the country should be flooded with vaccine and confidence. So it will probably help this relationship to again restart. We'll have to restart it again, because there'll be a lot of psychological problems. There'll be a lot of problems which children, adolescents problems, a lot of problems which junior children will face again coming out and meeting their own age group. So as administrations, we've got to actually sit down and think, how are we going to manage the entire area of parent-teacher relationships, student-teacher, teacher-student relationships, and student-student relationships. So the perception, we actually have to restart again. We've got to go around and observe and notice and see take important decisions to deal with the time which is going to come. And of course, we're dealing with what is happening right now. So, we, after this time gets over, or what we used to previously do is we used to take out a lot of time to know our students as administrations. This is like the fourth leg of we've got to take out a lot of time, ensure that our students are balanced, meet students. Sometimes, at least I am in school. I work like I'm employed as an administrator. Of course, my principal and vice principal, etc., look after the professional aspect of the school, the academics, the discipline, etc., etc. But I do have a role coming into school every day. I visit the classroom. I ensure that I communicate with children from time to time. I observe classes. I actually take about 3 or 4 rounds of school. So the sounds coming out of classrooms, effective teaching, etc. is as somebody who's worked with the school for 25 years. I can actually, you can actually figure out what's happening in a class. Is it a effective classroom or not? And so, we actually have to demonstrate a lot of love and be kind to our students. We've got to sit down, and if there's somebody who's a sportsman, like I've got this girl who's playing golf, and she's in the 12th now. Hopefully, she should go out and do very well. So, I've actually sat down with her, invested a lot of time with her, gone to the practice range, seen how she's faring. The other student who's done very well from our place, from playing golf, is this gentleman called Shubhankar Sharma, who's probably the highest. Sort of he's made more money professionally playing golf than any other Indian professional. So he was also a product of our school. The initial years, we started him off. One used to be on the range, used to see how he's hitting the ball, discuss with the parents, discuss with the professional how he's doing. So it's building a champion. So likewise in class, if there's a student, you've got to provide an environment of academics. You've got to look at where the child can perform. You can send them out to various professors. You can ensure that better people come in to take a few lectures, etc. So you've got to ensure that that student, as an administration, the student is completely sure of what he's getting in the school, and we have to doubly make sure after this period gets over. Then secondly, the school administration with parents, we've got to listen to the parent. We've got to, whenever they come with their grievances, a lot of times we outspeak them and we just brush everything under the carpet and don't listen to all of them. So we've got to give them a keen ear. Sometimes, you can, there was this child who was in school, and the child he was very indisciplined in class. And then gradually to the school, we sent him across to this gentleman and realized that the child had a bit of a handicap. He couldn't hear certain alphabets at all. Then he got a hearing aid, and today the child has done extremely well for himself. So we spoke to the parents. We got them into confidence. The parents were actually not agreeable first to send them out to a child counselor and said, pagal nahi hai bachcha. There are all these areas where people are very reluctant in sending a child to an outside counselor. The in-house counselor they're comfortable with, but sometimes because they don't want anybody pointing a finger at their child. So you've got to various other things that we've got to build trust with the parents, involve parents in various activities. We've got to have these parent-teacher management forums more and more often. We've got to share our vision and mission with the parents. There's got to be a lot of transparency of what we are going to do and what are our plans in the future. And after all, this child is going to be with you for about 12 years or 10 years, so he has to know what kind of direction are you taking the child, because eventually he's going to be ready for the market, or we're going to give him, we don't want to give him incomplete knowledge. Finally, it comes down to your teachers. So teachers are it's, for me at least, they've been more like family, rather than we've actually got together during this time. I've taken advice from my senior teachers. We all sort of grew up together, because I took over the school when I was about 24, 25. So I had these senior teachers guiding me. Otherwise, you're very erratic as a 25-year-old. You take all these stupid decisions and things like that. So I had these very senior teachers who actually took us along with a very capable principal who joined us at that point of time. And so my experience in this is that I've ensured that whatever I'm planning to do in terms of everything, I've always kept it very open, very transparent with whatever I want to do with sort of my teachers. I'm always present in school. I've got an open door policy. I don't I'm not that bada sahab. I've just got a door which is open. We've got a semi-casual kind of sort of management office, and provided a person is free and he is not sort of shirking from any kind of work, or sort of not causing any sort of taking away time from the children, which is the most important thing. They're most welcome to walk in. So I'm present here for my teachers. Then we celebrate success together, whatever the school has achieved. We, from time to time, have get-togethers to build that relationship. We try to ensure that each one of us, even on personal events, everybody we contribute money and ensure that this relationship is always a happy one. Then we also ensure that they are trained. I mean, we put in a lot of money into our training to ensure their relationship grows better, they grow professionally. And, anybody, even if a teacher grows very professionally and then probably leaves us or whatever, that's also good because she's going away to some other school, and she'll do well for the children out there as well. So, it's only if you grow a teacher, whether at my place or any other school, it's going to only benefit children. So that's absolutely all right. Of course, you do sign a few bonds and things like that. If you invest into somebody a lot, so that's another way of actually keeping each other together. Support whenever the teacher wants it. Any kind of help, regular reassurance of the teacher's worth. This happens a lot with senior teachers. They start feeling that the younger lot is taking over and things like that. So we've got to keep on reassuring them that no, you're still. In fact, somebody who worked with my mother. This is a long time back. Mrs. Shukla. She, when she retired at about 62, then I got her back for dramatics. Then finally at 70, she said, "Ab chhod do mujhe. Let me move on. I want to do. I've got a lot of other. She was a Hindi teacher. I want to do. She had all the religious travel and things like that. So she visits us every now and then. So it's more like a family. You built a relationship over time. And to be honest, because we built that relationship, it's done wonders for us during these trying times. So and then after that, we ensured that each one of them, we paid them on time. We tried our best. And as I was talking to Mr. Mall just before this, I said, he said, how's your thing going with school? How's everything? So I said, we've had so many wonderful years. I've been managing the school for 25 years. And we've done reasonably well in 25 years. We've built our reserves. I took over a school which was about maybe 300 or 400 students. We are up to about 3,000 students. We've got a teaching staff of about 150 people. So if we have a bad year, in 25 years, it's one bad year. We've got to learn how to see this time through, and just ensure that you secure your teachers, secure your students, and managements need to have big hearts to see this time through, and of course bigger hearts when we get over this time and move on. So thank you very much for your time and inviting me here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Omar Faruq Ali, and for being for such a long time with your school and looking after it with benign dictatorship. Uh, that too, I think, is required at some time or the other. And because you've got to be a little forceful. As kind as you may be, you have to see things, and you have to work it out. And I'm sure you understand that. So thank you once again to our mentor, Dr. Sunita Gandhi, for this excellent format she has given us, which gives us access to people like Mr. Omar Faruq Ali, who's spoken splendidly today about the kind of cement which keeps a school together, and that is relationships. So, thank you, sir. And
Thank you.
everybody, good afternoon and goodbye. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.